This is Joel Robinson from ArtPusher.net, and you're listening to the Timo and Harley Show.
Welcome to the Timo and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Timo and Harley Show. I am Timo. Over there is my partner in Minecraft, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben Hot Lips Harley.
That's this guy. Oh, I like Hot Lips. Oh, wait a second. You mean from MASH Hot Lips? Yeah.
Nah. I should be calling you Popeye. Sounds like you've been doing more pulling the ink squeegee across some screens and making tons and tons of apparel. Is that true? Yes. Still right in the midst of it, Timo. Well, I guess the fans are lucky they're not listening to me print as we're doing the show. So. Right.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, Timo.
That makes all four of us, right? Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. I've already hit the emotional wall. The physical one will be next.
All right.
Hopefully. Yeah, so, we're getting there, buddy. We're getting through this last little bit of fall.
Yeah,
the sports and stuff, but yeah, it's been I've been living my own little horror show, Timo.
Right, it's kind of what I mean. Yeah, it's kind of amazing to me that like Angio, she's a forensic accountant.
Yes,
okay, not very dependent.
And a damn good one.
Well, and not very dependent upon the season, but yet she gets busy about the same time as you do. I've noticed this over the years. I'm like, where is the correlation between making football jerseys and dealing with, insurance losses due to natural disasters? You tell me.
I don't know.
Tell me. You guys are the smart ones.
Well, no, Angie's a smart one.
I'll buy
a pretty one.
I'll buy all that.
I'm just mildly amusing and okay to look at.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So.
Well, while you guys have been busy, I've been busy just watching shit. So I got a bunch of stuff, to go through. But first up on Ben Harley, a couple things I want to talk about. First up, big announcement. Yeah. Not necessarily an official announcement. But one that I'm just excited to make is that, and I didn't think this was going to happen this year. I'll be flat out honest with you. I did not think this was going to happen this year. But for the third year in a row, we are going to be at Vet CityCon.
Vet CityCon, my friend. Yes.
At the Corvette Museum.
Hanging with Dick Hammer.
That's right.
And his lovely wife, Casey, and their new son.
I think it's time for their new son to experiment in drugs. So I'm going to I want to have the honor of doing that, so I'm bringing some marijuana laced pacifiers. Let's see here. I've got a PCP laced whoopee that I'm bringing. Lots of good stuff. Ben Harley.
Lots of good stuff, my friend. Yeah.
It won't take long. He'll fit right in.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, exciting stuff though, Timo.
Well, yeah, we weren't sure. They did a couple years, and like we were kind of teasing about here that Mr. Dead Dick Hammer and his lovely wife Casey, they did multiply and give birth. So there's a little Dick Hammer, a little hammer, a little Dick mallet running around, and so not only that, but I do believe one of the partners in that had moved to Florida or something. So there was just a little question mark. What was going to happen. And, the way things usually go in this world, I figured it ain't happening. We're having fun at it. If it's a product that comes out that I like to eat or drink, or if it's a event that I really enjoy, it doesn't last long because I don't think I enjoy what a lot of other people on the planet enjoy.
Right.
But this one is going on. This one is happening.
Yes, it is happening.
Right. So that will be at the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky, the last weekend of January. It's going to be, I think, a Friday and Saturday this time, not a Saturday and Sunday. So we'll keep everybody posted.
Yeah.
Keep everybody posted on this. But mark your calendars. Last weekend in January, you got nothing else going on. So go to Vet CityCon and
now you do.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, I'm going to. Yeah, that's what I do now.
That's absolutely right. So another thing, real quick, Mr. Ben Harley, something I was texting you about that I'm going to start telling people. That I'm going to do my famous unpaid advertising that I do for almost everybody I mildly enjoy. So there's a channel out there. It's been out there for a while. I've heard about it, or let's say it's a Roku channel. Or it's that's what I call it on Apple TV. I don't know what they call it. I do have an Amazon Fire TV stick thing. I don't enjoy it as much as Roku. I don't know what they call it on that, but on Roku, they call them a channel. So I guess on maybe Amazon it'd be a different app or something like that. But it's called Pluto TV. Yeah, and I'm sure people have heard about this. If you haven't tried it though. All I can tell you. I have, yeah. Okay, so all I can tell you is that they have a Mystery Science Theater channel 24/7.
Now, I just heard about it. I just got hip to this by none other than Billy Shea that works for me. Just told me about this. Yeah, he just, it's a Mystery Science channel.
It is. It's a channel, and right next to it is a Riff Tracks channel.
Yeah, and he also mentioned that. Yeah,
so, and then they have a horror movie channel, comedy and stuff like that, and they do show some live television, some actual, and it's free. It's free. Yep. The only complaint I have is it's been a little glitchy. Now I do have rural internet, folks.
Yeah,
We're lucky to be able to use any kind of FaceTime device to do this show with what I've got.
But, that windmill don't work so well all the time.
Right. I got to borrow it from my dad. Next door, So, but it is very interesting. And Harley, I did turn on the Mystery Science Theater channel. I was waiting for Angio to come up one night. I just finished watching a movie. Wasn't enough time to get into anything else. I'm like, I'm going to try this out. So I did watch the Mystery Science Theater channel for a little bit. Like I said, I liked it a lot. It looked pretty good. Little glitchy when I was watching it.
That does happen sometimes.
Right. Yeah. But Corey discovered the Asylum channel.
No doubt, really.
So he was,
Corey.
he was watching the Asylum channel this weekend. So he was enjoying Two-Headed Shark Attack.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, on this, he likes those goofy Asylum movies. He thinks they're a riot. So, but Pluto TV, try it out, folks. I mean, you can put it on your phone. You can put it on your device. Anything you have, it's out there. It's free. It's free. They play little ads and stuff, but very worth checking out. Especially cheap people like myself that don't want to pay for shit. Right?
Exactly. I don't blame you. Neither do I. They keep making me.
Right. Let's get through some stuff. Right. Exactly. Let's get through some stuff I've watched for Mr. Ben Harley.
All right, Timo.
I'm going to try to run through these pretty quickly. A couple of these you might have seen. A couple of documentaries I really want to talk to you about here. So,
cool.
But first up, Angio and I went back and kind of, we were on a John Carpenter freak out.
Yeah, you were.
And so we sort of, it's not really technically 100% this, but we did watch Halloween 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
The good one, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I said, no, you didn't do that to yourself.
Screw you too, jerk off. Yes, it was Halloween 2. So enjoy watching that.
Thanks. I didn't want to talk about the other one. Oh,
no. Enjoyed watching that one. Good sequel.
Oh, I love that movie. I really do. As I've gotten older, I won't linger too much on this, but as I've gotten older, I do realize it's not Halloween, the original.
No, right.
But when I was a kid and up until, probably my early 20s, I looked at these as one movie for a long time. I did, and I still kind of like to. Mm-hmm. Okay, Dick Warlock's a lot shorter, blah, 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 stuff like that. But you know what? I try not to look at that. I actually think the mask in part 2 is awesome, man. And it's got, there's parts in that movie I just love. I just, when he walks through the glass door at the hospital, just one of my favorite parts in horror history. And it's very simple and not much to it.
Right.
But what a great movie. Great stuff.
It's fun too, because I get to have a conversation with Angio, because I love talking about the different edits of the film. There's the TV edit where it's completely different. I mean, the people who live and die are different. The end of it's different. The last 15 minutes of it are very different. Edited. I don't know if you remembered or not, but the what the hell? The Lance, what's his name? Lance Guest.
Yeah.
he slips on the blood.
Yeah.
In the movie, but if you watch it on TV, he slips on the blood when the explosion happens.
Oh,
and then
really?
they're trying to infer that the explosion caused him to slip. And then at the end of the movie, when Jamie Lee Curtis is in the back of the ambulance and they pull her away and she's just giving that look. Well, in the TV version, she's sitting there giving that look, and all of a sudden next to her, a figure sits up with a sheet over its head, like a dead person. Yeah. And the sheet falls down, and it's Lance Guest with the thing wrapped around his head. Like he had heard, like he bumped his head.
Yeah.
And she starts going, "We made it. We made it." That's what Jamie Lee Curtis says. So what they had to do was I don't
know if I've ever seen that.
Yeah, well, what they had to do is they had to edit out the scene where Lance Guest comes out of the hospital into the car that Jamie Lee Curtis is hiding in. They completely edit that out. Well, or he dies. You don't really know. You think he might die or something like that. So it's just interesting. So both cuts are on the last Halloween Blu-ray that came out. I think there's a DVD of the TV cut or something. Either that or I have it. Something. But I showed it to Andrew real quick. I said, this was always fascinating to me. It's kind of like Jaws the Revenge, except it's a good movie.
Yeah. Wait a second.
Or a decent movie, I should say. But yeah. Right. Good times, though. We enjoyed watching it. It was nice sitting down watching it. Let's see. I think this was 2015, Mr. Ben Harley. 2015. Watch the American remake of the French film Martyrs.
Now you got me on that one.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'd seen Martyrs when it came out. It's a film about... It starts off really interesting. You see like this upper middle class, waspy kind of family. The stereotypical, we have zero problems and don't ever get sick white people. They stereotype everybody, really. These are stereotypical white people where their shit don't stink, right? And so they're sitting down for breakfast or something, and there's a knock at the door, and this girl is standing there in a hoodie and blows away the guy who answers the door with a shotgun, and then blows away the entire family. And then you're thinking, oh my God, who is this horrible person? Well, then she seems to know the house. Then she goes to the back of the house and finds a secret door that goes down to the basement of the family's house. And she's there for revenge. We'll put it that way. So the French film is very interesting. A lot of people liked it a lot more than I did. But it was definitely interesting. And the remake is, it's okay. It's, some of these things I find unnecessary except for the fact they're speaking in English. Really. And then they kind of water it down. They kind of watered it down because something about the French. I mean, they didn't make anything that interesting, but when they want to make a gory movie, they go all out. Yeah, they certainly do. So, but I don't know. I would stick with the original one. I just watched it as a curiosity piece because I'd never seen it. I knew it was remade. Okay. So anyway, Martyrs. I'd stick with the original. I don't think that this one was horrible. It was unnecessary in a way.
Yeah. Okay.
From 1975, Mr. Ben Harley, Angio and I went back and watched.
Fine year,
it is. We went back and watched Dario Argento's Deep Red.
Deep Red.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wonderful. Love going back and watch that one. Yeah.
I think we did that, didn't we?
I think we did too. That was trying to think how to explain it without people have had time to see it. It's the one where it's got the creepy scene where like the figure, the doll, the dummy comes running across the room with a knife.
Oh yeah.
And you ain't ready for it. So I think this was one that made you piddle in your pants a little bit. At least that scene right there. So
right.
That's one that kind of sticks out, but a very good film. One of Argento's good ones, one of his masterpieces, as he would.
Masterpiece.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see. Watch the movie, Mr. Ben Harley. I think that you watched. I think you told me you watched this. If not, something very similar. Watched a movie called Backyard Blockbusters. A movie about fan films.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, maybe I did. Is it the one where they talk about...
They got the Batman guy.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, and the Indiana Jones. So, I think there might be two of these movies running around.
Yeah.
I think...
I'm trying to think what the other one was called. But it's something real similar.
Yeah, well, it was pretty interesting.
It was the evolution of the one I watched, like the evolution of the fan film.
Well, that's what this was too. It had like the guy from Hardware Wars and kind of went on from there. It went back.
Hardware.
Yeah, I mean, it went back to like a silent fan film. I mean, it went way back. Wow. Yeah, so it was kind of interesting. Kind of cool, but it wasn't too bad. I'm not a fan of fan films very much, although I don't have any problem with it. To me, it's like a cover band.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't do much for me, but I think a lot of people learn how to, like in a cover band, some people can learn how to play together. It's not, the hardest thing about being in a band is playing together.
Right.
Not being able to play yourself. You can sit down and play a drum beat and be like, wow, man, I can really play drums until you get with a bass player.
Right. And then try to do it. Yeah.
Right. That's part of the trick. And this was kind of, I think guys learn how to make movies. A lot of these guys got big time jobs off doing these films.
Big time. Yeah. Well, I that Hardware Wars, I remember where I was. It was Beverly School. We didn't get to go out for recess because it rained that day, and we watched Hardware Wars in the gym, on an old reel-to-reel.
Well, apparently a lot of schools watched it. A lot of
man, I remember it. It was shortly after Star Wars came out, and I loved it, just as a kid because I knew what it was. But I mean, I guess that was probably my first fan-made movie I ever saw. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right.
And I loved it. I still think it's hilarious. And the fact that they even did he did their stuff too, or whatever, the special edition.
Didn't I give that to you on VHS?
Yeah,
I thought so. Right, yeah. Well, that's the thing too, because it was kind of Hardware Wars was kind of not the first fan film, but it was kind of considered the first modern one because because Star Wars really started that fan film stuff. You know, I mean the rebirth of it in a way. I mean, now you got like almost like remakes of Halloween and stuff out there. I have no problems with this stuff at all. I like Halloween. I'm not, it is what it is. Yeah. But the movie was interesting. And I mean, more power to these people. They're not like making money off it. They can't. No. They're not allowed to. That's when you get in trouble. That's when you get in trouble. And we know that as well, so, but not too bad. Backyard Blockbusters. That is also on Amazon Prime.
The Batman Predator. Was that one right?
Yes, that was on there.
That was him. Yeah.
Yeah. They were talking about that guy too. Yeah. Some of those guys are pretty arrogant. They're like
the
cool kids in the fan film room, they're like, I kind of threw my table scraps, it kind of reminds me of that Twin Cities, or what was the video game competition one where the one guy
Twin
with
Galaxies.
Twin Galaxies, with the Donkey Kong movie, or with the one that John Sullivan sent us with the guy with the mullet. Just thought he was too cool for school, and you're like, man, you're only cool to 9 guys in that little fucking room with the video games. Everybody else thinks you're
his little minion.
Everybody else thinks you're a douchebag, man. So that guy definitely
the King of Kong.
Yes, King of Kong. Thank you, thank you, Mr. Harley. So.
I came through.
He did come through. So, but that guy kind of reminded me of that a little bit. So it was interesting to watch. Real quick, Mr. Ben Holly, from 1962, Angio and I went back and watched Tales of Terror. The Roger Corman directed and produced the trilogy movie of 3 different Poe tales. Well, actually, it's a mishmash of Edgar Allan Poe stories. Into 3.
Seems to be going on.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, it's like into 3 different stories, but it's got Vincent Price, Peter Lorre, and Basil Rathbone in it. Wow. And it's a good movie. God, it's so much fun watching it. It's getting better as time goes on. It's from 62, so by the time I'm dead, it'll be too good to look at.
It's going to be so good.
Yeah, it'll be amazing. So, but lots of fun. From 1980. Also on Amazon Prime, Mr. Ben Harley, I rewatched an Italiano film.
Oh, another one.
Yeah. Nightmare City, directed by Umberto Lenzi. Okay. This is supposedly the first fast, quote-unquote, zombie movie. Not really zombies. What happens? It's Italian. It throws you right in the pot, the stew pot.
So
throws you right in.
It.
Yeah. There's a reporter or something, and they show up at an airport to interview some famous person or something. This kind of plane. Anyway, a plane lands, and the doors open up, and a bunch of dudes with like oatmeal in their face run out and start beating the shit out of people, grabbing guns, firing. So it's kind of more like a vampire movie. Okay, but they got oatmeal in their face and they're radioactive. So they're radioactive vampire zombie mutants.
With oatmeal in their face.
With oatmeal in their face, pretty much, yeah. But they can use like guns and stuff and they run. So there's a little bit of kitsch to it. I mean, it's a little like, this is different. It's a little different. It's a lot of fun. And then I saw that, it's being remade. Tom Savini's remaking it with Umberto Lenzi. So,
really?
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'd say I got a little cantankerous though, because I was kind of looking up some trivia on it and stuff, and it's that damn IMDb, Ben Harley. I mean, sometimes you just look at you like, that's just wrong. That's wrong.
You can't fool Timo.
And you can't. They said that this is the first credit as being the first fast zombie movie. First of all, they're not zombies. They suck blood. Okay, so they don't eat anybody. They just suck blood. They beat the shit out of people and kill them. They make them bleed and suck it out. So they'll bash your head open and then start sucking your brains out. But they're not eating the flesh. So really, I'm sitting there like, hasn't anyone seen Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price? Which is the I Am Legend story, which is they're running around everywhere, chasing them around and stuff. Anyway. I'm never going to win this one.
They don't care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in that movie, they lumber around his house, but they chase him down at the end. So I'm going to tell you right now that those are fast-moving fellas in that movie. So, So don't start with me.
Real fast.
Yeah, don't start with me, IMDb. Whoever that is, I'm going to kick him in the teeth. All right, I'll be nice. I'll kick him in the tooth. We'll be fine.
Right.
So, but anyway, Nightmare City.
Be nice now.
Nightmare City is also streaming on Amazon. I do believe I actually have it on Blu-ray, but I was too lazy to get up. So anyways, I just hit play. And so I'm getting in with the times, Mr. Ben Harley. Let's see, couple documentaries real quick, and then I'm done here. One movie, believe it or not, Mr. Ben Harley, was suggested to me by Mr. Danny Hicks.
Daniel Hicks suggested something
in the horror to me. No, it wasn't a horror movie, but he suggested a movie to me. Yes. A movie to me. It was called Hired Gun. Okay. And it is a documentary about hired musicians on tour with like big artists and things like that. Like Alice Cooper's band. Billy Joel's
he always
band.
Has some,
has
some hired guns, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And this
Ted Nugent.
Well, it was funny. Ted Nugent's in there.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. This is how good this documentary is. And the movie is kind of trying to give credit to these studio musicians and these hired players and session players. I mean, do you people really think that Billy Joel wrote the drum part for Pressure?
Oh, sure.
Sure he did. And the bass line? No.
Oh, yeah.
This is band, man. That was his band. It was, and then they talked about a lot of these guys became producers because they're great musicians and they would produce like an Alice Cooper record and they can actually play the drums and they can do something like that. But it was really cool because it's almost like I've been screaming this for years. People are like, man, Michael Jackson was awesome. No, Michael Jackson could dance.
He wasn't a music. Yeah.
Did you know who the backing band for Thriller was? It was Toto.
Who played on it? Toto? Toto was in the.
But did you know that Ted Nugent did not sing Stranglehold?
Oh, really?
No. And it's funny because it was just his other guitar player that sang it, and he sang a bunch of his songs. And he said that the guy was talking about how they play shows, and he sings Stranglehold. And people come up to him after the show going, man, it's too bad Ted's throat must have been bothering him, but you did a great job singing that song.
Yeah.
Well, I did sing it.
Yeah, that is my song. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I knew when Danny Hicks suggested a movie to me, and then I'm in a van with Ultraman going up to Chicago to play a punk show. When those guys are talking about this movie, telling me I need to see it, and then it comes up on Amazon Prime yesterday. I had to watch
Somebody's telling you something.
I had to watch it, yeah.
The universe.
Yes, you would love this movie. You would love this movie.
Yeah, I would.
Hired Gun. Write that down.
I love that stuff. Hired Gun.
Hired Gun. Write it down. Now. Write it down.
Right now.
Because you're going to need to write another one down. You're going to need to write another one down. So Hired Gun. Okay. Write that one down. Very good. I implore people to watch it.
Tommy Aldridge in there, Timo?
No, they show him a lot. They show him a lot.
That guy's been hired by everybody.
I know, but I mean, right next to him, a lot of the movie is Rudy Sarzo, though. Who those guys were inseparable.
I was going to say that was the next guy I was going to ask you about.
They were inseparable for sure.
Yeah.
So, but it shows how these guys got their gigs through other hired gun friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Alice Cooper said to me, Alice Cooper said he got his guitar player from going to see Hillary Duff. He goes, I was with my daughter or something going to see Hillary Duff, and he goes, of course it's not my thing. He's like, but I respect her. I'm a performer. I respect everybody. He's like, but I asked the guy with me, who the hell is that guitar player? And they said his name is, write that down. And he ended up going on tour with them for a couple of years. Yeah. And then Alice Cooper said that he always, like when the hired guns start their own band and they want to go do something else, he always gives them his blessing and says, go be a rock star.
Yeah.
Go be a rock star. Go do it, and stuff. So it's very, very good. And as a musician, it was interesting. It was cathartic for me in a way, and it was also very heartwarming. So, yes, thank you. Thank you for saying this. These other guys, it's what musicians try to articulate all the time. The difficulties of what they do, trying to scratch around for coin. It's
right.
And part of the coin is recognition. And if you're the guy who's playing drums on Jack and Diane, and you came up with that, that guy came up with that. That was not John Mellencamp.
Yeah,
but he even said that wasn't part of that song. So he said that Mellencamp said, you need to do a solo there. And the drummer was like, a solo in a ballad? In a ballad? What the fuck do I do? So he said, he goes, I had 10 seconds. I'm walking to my drums thinking, if I don't do this, I'm fired.
Yeah.
If I don't pull this off, they're going to find somebody else. And he said he did not know what he was going to do until he sat down and hit the drums.
Yeah.
And that was it. That's what he did. So just really cool stories like that. Little pieces of songs you remember were not the artists that they're credited to, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just very cool. Just very,
cool.
very cool to watch. Again, Hired Gun on Amazon, Mr. Ben Harley. Write that down.
Write that down.
Now write this one down too. This is my last thing. I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this, Mr. Ben Harley. I'm not going to talk about a lot, but I'm going to give you examples that were shown or discussed in this film. This movie on Amazon is called Strange Name Movie.
Strange Name Movie.
It is a documentary about people
strange names?
with strange or funny names.
Okay.
It's like an hour. It's like an hour of talking with people named like Richard Gay.
Oh, yeah.
Ronald McDonald.
Oh.
Yeah. Jeff Studley.
Jeff Studley.
Here's a good one. This would have been great when you were a kid. A gentleman by the name of Tim Burr.
Tim Burr. Nice.
How about the short Asian guy? How about the short Asian guy who's named Donald Sutherland?
I like that. Yeah, I went to college with Jim Henson, Timo.
Oh, really?
It wasn't the Jim Henson,
right?
But it was Jim Henson nonetheless. Yeah.
That's exactly what this movie is about, and it's funny because
I met a guy named Errol Flynn back when I was in my early 20s, and he was in his early 20s.
Yeah,
I was like, "That's not your real name." Oh yeah, it was. And this is the type of guy who's a rock and roller who's not going to change his name to Errol Flynn.
Right. Right. Well, there's a guy named Donald Trump.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It gets really good though because there's like a Stuart Putz. He said he's gotten out of so many tickets. He gets pulled over and the cop looks at his license, goes, "Is that your real name?" He goes, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh God, man, here, I'm gonna have to give you a warning since you're a putz." They'll hand him back. One of the funnier ones is that this guy's named Paul McCartney. Okay.
Paul McCartney, yeah.
And he's just a middle-aged, overweight, like kind of, he owns like some business or something, his name's Paul McCartney. Yeah. And I'm laughing. By this time in the movie, I'm laughing, thinking about what people have to go through. It's hard enough having a name like Tim O'Sabin and trying to explain that to people, but they have Paul McCartney. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. And then they pan out and his wife's sitting there and she goes, "Hello, my name is, Linda." So it's Paul, Linda McCartney. So he said that he took his employees on a trip one time and the entire airport stopped everything. Down. Yeah, for him. They put him in first class. He wasn't going to tell him he wasn't the real Paul McCartney. Yeah. He wasn't going to tell him. He's gotten letters.
I'd be dressing like it, Paul McCartney.
Yeah. Well, that's what he said, because people were asking, "Do you hate it?" Well, sometimes I do, but sometimes it really helps. There is a guy. He's a basketball player. Don't know if you've heard of this guy, but he's foreign, but I don't really know his first name, but his name is Gooey Fuck.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
But it's it's pronounced like Jouet Fouk. You know, he's like, and so, but it's spelled Fuck. And so there's this big thing about, and he's a big basketball player. So there's this big thing about what do you put in the scoreboard when he scores? So they decided just to do it. It's his name. So it says fuck just score. So I'm laughing. There's a lady named Smokey Bacon.
Oh no. No.
There's a guy named Harry.
I love Smokey Bacon.
There's a guy named Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Alana Cockburn.
Oh.
Mark Go to Bed. Janine Cobbledick.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Tim.
My favorites are this. My favorites are Barb Dwyer.
I like that one.
Dwyer. Yeah.
I like that one.
But the one that just had me on the floor is when they have this old, skinny, pissed off looking dude. Yes. My name is Gunter Frankenstein.
Touchdown.
And first of all, he's old as dirt. And he's sitting there, he's going, that Mary Shelley ruined my good family name.
Are you kidding me?
No, this is a great movie.
That's great.
It's a strange name movie on Amazon. I love that.
One of my favorites is Julie, my ex-wife. She taught a kid. I think I mentioned this. His name was Rex Powers. Love that name. I'm like, oh, you got to grow up though. That's hard to live up to.
Yeah,
Rex Powers. And then I knew a couple named Kelly and Kelly Keller. I knew that.
Oh, okay, there's a good one.
And I think for my name, Benjamin Harley's not too god awful and crazy, but I think it's been really easy for people that don't even really know me but recognize the name. Just because of the Harley.
Well, it's a motorcycle. That's not not cool.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah. It's better than Ben. What's the Yugo? Or something like that. I guess.
Or if your name was Oscar Mayer.
Oscar Mayer.
But that's what this movie was full of. It was
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was full of that. But there was. I mean, what was funny is that they were also showing the people, the production assistants and stuff working on the film, trying to make phone calls to arrange. They just went through phone books and stuff to find people's names. And like this one production assistant's hilarious. She's sitting there going, do I really have to call this person? And like, yeah, we're making a movie. He's like, oh my God, his name is really Mangina. And I'm like, oh my God, so it was so funny. But it's like you can laugh at it, but at the same time, they do speak and you do humanize them and you do feel bad for them. You feel bad for them, but then they tell you stories like, don't feel too bad for me because I got this perk and I got this, I got that. The guy that
I guess I would feel worse too, Timo, for someone who is in their 70s. His name's Justin Bieber or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. I know that's nothing compared, but I'm just saying. Or if your name was Elvis Presley and you were 60 when Elvis came out, or you know what I mean? I feel for people like that too, or you know what I mean, or something. That just you're like, yep, that's my name now. And you're like, rap.
Well, and some of these people too, like it was what was really interesting is when they found out their name was funny, and you would think it would be like when they were little kids, but they were like, I was 14, and people started making fun of me, and I'm like, Mom, what are they talking about? Like the one woman, it was this I'd say about a 35-year-old African American woman. Her name is Robin Williams. Oh, now, that's not a uncommon thing at all, but her name was Robin Williams. And And so you start looking at this going, man, there's some names out there that are, so it goes back and forth from funny names to like puns and like things like that. But my God, is it entertaining? I had little tears streaming down my eyes just when the guy Gunther Frankenstein came on.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh my God. And it's just the way they edit it is really funny. Like they pop up this this scene of this short, overweight Asian man, and he just goes, "Hello, my name is Donald Sutherland." I'm like, "Oh, that's," I'm like laughing. And they show him go into a restaurant. Hey, reservations for Donald Sutherland, and the guy looks at him. Yeah, the guy looks at him and goes, "You're much taller than I imagined." But there was a guy named. There was this African American guy. I mean, he was young. He was like 30.
Yeah.
His name was James Bond.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I mean, so there's a filmmaker named James Bond, or an actor or something, James Bond the Third. Yeah, and it's pretty well known. I can't remember if he's an actor or if he's but yeah, he's known. He's known, you know. So it's not and that's the thing. You start thinking about, it's like, well, I know you just rattled off these people's names, so it goes back and forth and stuff, and it's good, you know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, I knew a girl. Actually, they do have a family of hookers. Oh, wow. So their name's Hooker, and when I grew up, there was a girl who lives around me that we all knew. Her name was Gigi Hooker. It's a tough one, you know. I mean, she was she was kind of cute, so that helped. Yeah, it helped the guys not making too much fun of her, because
no,
lose their shot, you know. wasn't really going to happen. But when you see a family and they have 3 generations of Donald Duck, you gotta start thinking. So, but anyway, a Strange Name movie, Mr. Ben Harley. Strange Name movie. Watch that and Hired Gun. What you got?
Hired Gun.
Yeah, what you got?
Timo, you put me on the spot. Hold on, buddy. Right. Let me reach into my bag of tricks.
Whoa, family show with curse words. Hold on now.
Hold on now. Hold on, wise gentlemen. Hold on here. Okay, Timo. Yeah. Last weekend in the space-time continuum, I went to see the Almighty Damien. It's their 35th anniversary.
Okay.
They'll do every so many years. They'll do another show, but this year they did with all original members. Well, let me take that back.
All living original members, you should say, probably.
Yeah, Damien goes back a long ways, but as far as the original members that really counted on the album, the guys that played on the albums, you know. So, so it was good to see. Actually, the other members had been doing it for the last so many years, but Fritz, the rhythm guitar player, was with them. So it was really nice. I had to draw Fritz's pretty face that morning. For some shirts.
Explain that, please, for our listening audience. You know, there might be young children or something in the audience. Right. And I don't need to have that in my head.
Well, it's funny because, Fritz, the rhythm guitar player, I had to do some shirts. Mm-hmm. And I'd done some shirts for them before, Damien shirts with all members, faces, or not really faces, just them on the front, you know.
Like caricatures kind of in a way, or like a comic book version of them? Or
mm-hmm. You know, and so I had to do that on Saturday. I had to take a picture that they gave me, a newer picture of Fritz, which is real small, and then I took one from 35 years ago and tried to
make it real tiny. Just make it real tiny on the make it real tiny on the shirt. Yeah,
it worked out. But I will say what a great show. They did do like a video, not for Damien, but Johnny Capley, their drummer, and then their singer Randy Wolf Michelson. They have a little side name. They have some kind of side project with the ex-bass player for Black Label Society. So it's kind of cool. They cut a little video that night, which was kind of neat. But I was ready for Damien at that point. I was like, I don't give a shit if I'm on video or not.
Right.
You're going to see me on video saying, let's go, bring on Damien. But anyways, I had a great time. It's great to have Fritz back in the band because it makes the sound a lot more thicker when Chuck Stoll, the other guitar player, does his thing. And Chuck's a great guitar. He's a mixture of like a Michael Schenker and the cool Yngwie Malmsteen stuff.
So he's very European then.
Yes. Great guitar player though. Just a lot of fun too, and so I had a really good time. Must say it was good to see them and a lot of friends and stuff like that.
Good. Cool.
So good times. So rock and roll, Timo.
There you go.
Rocked and rolled.
There you go.
So then I also want to mention on Sunday was my daughter's Zoe's 15th birthday.
Oh wow!
We went over to Dave and Buster's for her birthday. I don't know if you've ever been to a Dave and Buster's.
I can't remember. I know what they are though. I can't remember.
Yeah. I went to one. Julie and I went to one about 20 years ago or something. And so, they have a new one here in Toledo. It's new to me because it's the first time I've been there, but it's been here about maybe 2 years now.
I gotcha.
So went over there, had a lot of fun. Zoe and I played some really cool games, and these new video games, a lot more, some interactive stuff, a lot more three-dimensional things. You're kind of enclosed in these video games a lot. You play, 2 players at the same time. We did like a Jurassic Park, which was a lot of fun. Played a not life-size, but supposedly the largest Pac-Man or Galaga.
Oh, wow.
Game, which was fun. It was a little too large, Timo. When you're standing that close to the
Wait, was it Pac-Man or was it Galaga? They're different.
It was both.
I got
but
you.
I played.
Okay.
Yeah, I played Galaga. I'm more of a Galaga guy.
Gotcha.
So yes, I played a little bit of that, and then they had a real cool Batman game that is funny at first. Always like, geez, I don't know. What ended up being her favorite game of the day afterwards.
Right.
But it was a driving game, a Batman driving game, and you can, like I said, you can work in tandem or whatnot. But what was kind of cool about it, it had all the Batmobiles, basically all the Batmobiles from like the movies and some of the cartoons, from the from the Batman original television show to now. It was just kind of cool. But of course, I had to do the the 60s Batmobile. I love that car.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of fun playing that. But there was one interesting horror game that we played. I don't even really know what it was called. I do know they had a Walking Dead game. I didn't get a chance to play that. They had an Aliens game, which I missed out on that. But we played this one game. It was really kind of cool. Kind of like a zombie game. But when you're in the game itself, when you're sitting in there, there's like stuff that even on the sides, like flaps or whatever. So it's dark in there, and the game kind of rumbles and it blows air at you. Like if a door opens, it does. You feel like it jars you. It's kind of neat. It was spooky, So that was fun. But I will say I did enjoy my day with Zoe and hanging out and playing those video games. A lot of pretty intense stuff nowadays. I must say some of the intenseness of it is the price of the games now. But
right. How much is it to play a game now?
Well, you get credits, which is you don't really. I guess you'd know if you broke it down, Ben. But you get a deal like if you buy. I got her a card first, but then also with your meal, if you buy like a meal, you get like an extra card with the meal, depending on what you get, or they have.
Yeah, that sounds
specials.
Complicated. You know what? That sounds like going to see a movie in a movie theater these days, where you have to pre-buy
a little bit sometimes.
Do you have to do that? Pre-buy your seat?
No, you can pre-buy your seat, but I can't. I don't go that much anymore.
I don't like the world anymore, so
it's too complicated.
I can't even.
But
I don't want to go see a movie or play a video game because I don't understand understand your secret formulas anymore.
Well, the thing that threw me off, kind of, didn't throw me off too much, but you get a card, you can upload money on your card, right? So it takes certain credits, I guess, to play some of the games. Like I was doing good, I'm like, I barely used anything, and then I started playing some of them games, and what they do, and I don't blame them. They sucker you in. You're playing. And you die, and they're like, you give you 20 seconds to swipe your card to keep going. Oh. And my daughter, she likes to kind of keep going, which it's just fine. Right. Whatever, And so, and I do too, to a certain extent. Then I'm done. I'm done.
Right.
But so that's how you can kind of go through some. And some of the other ones are real expensive. The more 3-dimensional, or the interactive, I guess, ones are a little bit more expensive.
Gotcha.
But I did have a lot of fun. I'm going to go back. I'm going to take on them aliens. They had 2 different alien games, which seemed pretty fun. I played some Tomb Raider and some other stuff. A lot of fun, though. I did enjoy this. I needed it, Timo. I thought I was going to die between Friday and Saturday. My 30-hour day in 48 hours. I did 30 hours worth of work.
Wow.
So
yeah.
And I had to throw some sleep in there too. Somewhere.
Right. You had to swipe your card to get sleep too.
Yeah. And I had to throw a Damien show up in there somewhere too,
Yeah.
So. But so that was a lot of fun to me. Okay. Next, Timo, I want to speak. You'll be happy about. I know you're not the biggest Monkees fan, but I like to talk to you about the Monkees here and there because I've been watching them.
Yeah.
And I did find out what is this FETV is what I've been watching, like Barney Miller and One Day at a Time.
As in Frank E. TV.
Yeah, something
F-E-T-V.
like that. I don't know if it's anything to do with like the Farm Network or something. Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
Well, maybe
it might be one of those
FETV. Huh?
Yeah. So I made sure that I looked this time.
Thank you. Yeah, that's interesting.
But I have been watching. Yeah, a lot of Barney Miller, One Day at a Time.
Oh, I miss Barney Miller. Man,
it's a good show. One Day at a Time can be good as well. And you know what I will say though, one of my favorite characters lately been watching in watching a lot of these older shows in the last couple of years is Schneider.
Oh, Schneider
I always
rules.
liked Schneider. I always liked him.
Yeah.
You know, and thought he was funny, but I forgot how funny he is. And he really holds the show together really well. And they did a mud wrestling. I told you about the mud wrestling.
Oh, I like the mud wrestling too.
Yeah.
One of the most vivid memories I have from my childhood is one of the episodes of One Day at a Time when Schneider comes and he tells Miss Romano, he goes, "Yo, Miss Romano, I found Julie necking on the stairwell," and I fell out. I mean, and I was a little kid, and to this day, I've never forgot him standing there with his cigarette pack rolled up in his shirt, you know, and I'm just like, oh God, if I could. I mean, what was sad about it was when I was a little kid, I was like, man, I want to be Schneider when I grow up. And the funny thing is, it's not. I didn't go too far off from the beaten path from that, to be honest with you. Yeah. So we're all good.
We're good.
Yeah,
pretty fast and quick on your feet with your wits, just like Schneider.
But Barney Miller to me is like WKRP, where you got a lot of hard hitting comedy going constantly, and I like those shows. I haven't seen Barney Miller in a long time. That's going to have to be one coming up, I think. I'd like to see it on MeTV. That's what I was saying. FETV sounds a lot like MeTV, you know. So I was like, it's very similar, I'm assuming, or
pretty much. You know, like I'm trying to think what else. That's what I've been doing. The Monkeys, also taping the Monkeys, and I know you'll appreciate this, Timo. In the Monkeys episodes I've been watching, they've been doing a lot of like horror type stuff. They did another one where they went to like this haunted house, and it reminded me of kind of Abbott and Costello type, bits and stuff like that, Marx Brothers type things, and it was good, it was funny, and they had all the monsters represented. They had the werewolf for the most part. You had Dracula the werewolf. Who else? Yeah, the Mummy. Did I mention the Mummy? The Mummy was in there and stuff. So you would appreciate this, though, Timo, because the people who were running the haunted house was like a Dracula type character, like a Count Floyd, and a little cutest lady, Dracula, Chicky Boo, vampire gal.
Gotcha.
And they were kind of running the Monkeys crazy, but they were trying to turn Davy into Dracula.
I think I remember this one too.
Yes, they also tried to turn. They did turn Mickey into the Wolfman.
I do remember this. Yeah.
Yes, but what you would like about this, Timo, is they turned Peter Tork into not Frankenstein, but what?
The Frankenstein monster?
No, just the monster. Yeah, they did say so. I was very proud of that, and I thought you and they did do a Frankenstein thing. Frankie Stein something, but they didn't. I was like, Timo would appreciate that. That they did not, because that was so easy to Frankenstein. But so I thought you would like that.
It's a hard time of year for me. You know that. It's there's this time of year and political seasons are hard for me because I get very triggered when I see people calling the monster Frankenstein, and I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it. I'm going to hear it, and it's going to drive me fucking crazy for
bananas
ever. Especially when there's people that are fairly studied horror fans. Like actually not the greatest thing. The worst thing is that there was somebody on Svenguli's Facebook page, and people just put up like frivolous things like caption this. I hate that stuff.
Oh yeah,
I hate that. It's like, no, you caption it. You put the damn
put something. Stop captioning.
Yeah, exactly. Name this movie. Only wrong names. Oh, come on. You're asking for bad comedy at this point. But there was one who said, who was the best Frankenstein? Was it Christopher Lee or Boris Karloff? So I replied, my favorite Frankenstein is Colin Clive. I don't think Christopher Lee ever played Frankenstein. And and people a couple other people got on him too. It's like, come on, man, you can't. It's just not correct.
It's not.
This is what I don't like about this world is that it's excused to be incorrect.
Yeah.
And just because that's just what people think. Well, you know what? There's a lot of things people just think that are wrong, that are really fucking up our world right now. It's like, so if we don't, if it's not Frankenstein, where does it stop? Where does it stop? Right. We're going to die. Our whole planet will explode because you people can't figure out Frankenstein was the fucking scientist, the doctor.
Yeah.
I might be going a little overboard in that, Mr. Ben Harley, but I'm going to stick to my guns because why not? It's a fucking crazy world. So
exactly. You gotta do something.
Yeah, I got myself something.
Yeah, you got to do something.
I got to get triggered by something. I'm outraged. I'm taking it to the streets and I'm taking it to the internet.
Outraged.
Yeah.
That's right.
So it's time. But yeah, that's very good that they called him at least the monster. I don't mind Frankenstein's monster, or if they even sometimes when people go Frankie. That was really, it's all right, whatever, man, whatever. But, it's like, the monster, the creature didn't have a name.
The monster.
Yeah. I mean, I'm even going back to Mary Shelley. Did not have a name. It was just the creature or the creature. It was nothing, so my creation, things like that. So anyway, I'm going to have to get over it.
Father.
I'm going to have to get over it, but I'm not.
Yeah. Don't get over it, Tim.
No, I'm not going to get over it.
Yes. So one more thing, though, you'll appreciate, Timo, with the monkeys. I was watching another episode. They have one where Peter Tork sells his soul to the devil to play harp. And they kind of laugh at him because they're like, oh, yeah.
True story.
Because we're like a rock band, and we're gonna have a harp, but then they all of a sudden they go on tour, and the harp is the big thing, They're even bigger than ever because of the harp, and it's funny, but they have some Devil Go-Go girls, which I knew you would appreciate. But the one thing
do they mud wrestle too?
No, I wish they would have. Yeah. But I knew one thing that you might appreciate as well is they have psychiatrists at the beginning of it, and the psychiatrist happened to be a very young guy, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, but we just reviewed Saturday the 14th.
Yeah.
Right? And the guy that we really liked, the Van Helsing
character.
Yeah, he played a psychiatrist in the episode, real young, super young. Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, there he is. I almost texted you. But I was printing so much, Tim, I couldn't even have time to text. So.
You were trying to text.
I barely had time to look.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah.
Nice.
But, so I thought you might appreciate that as well. So,
cool.
I've been catching up on my monkeys, my Barney Miller, and One Day at a Time.
You're delving straight into horror during the Halloween season. I love it.
Yes. But the monkeys, the monkeys. That's not the mummy. That was a monkey. Yes.
Well, let's get to our official films, Mr. Ben Harley.
Yeah, let's do that.
We'll go in chronological. No, you know what? I don't even know. Which one you want to do first? You want to do chronological order?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. First up from 1983. They're only a year apart, but from 1983, the Osterman weekend.
Okay.
Yes.
I keep calling it the Osterman weekend.
Well, and it's directed by Mr. Sam Peckinpah, who did the Wild Bunch and Straw Dogs.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let me get you a short storyline.
I was just saying it can't be a short synopsis for this.
Well, believe it or not, there really is.
The blurb's probably a page long.
It's it's complicated. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It is a very short storyline synopsis. Here we go. You ready? Get out, movie guy. Here we go.
Yeah.
During the Cold War, a controversial TV journalist is asked by the CIA to persuade certain acquaintances who are Soviet agents of the Omega Network to defect. Okay, so that's a setup.
Omega.
Yeah,
yes.
That's the setup of the film. So, so what you have is Rutger Hauer, and he's a TV host. He gets hired by John Hurt, who's in the CIA. And John Hurt convinces him that all of his friends are basically, Soviet agents. But let's say, like, if we did it in today's world, they'd be terrorists.
Yeah.
So whoever the enemy is at the time, whoever's keeping us glued together, that's who they're working on here. And so he has, I guess he does this all the time. He has people over for the weekend. He has these friends over for the weekend. So this guy basically tells Rutger Hauer, you got to kind of smoke them out, basically.
Yep.
You got to figure out what's going on here, this and that.
Sign up with us.
Yes, and then things
and make them or turn them.
Right. Yeah. And things just start twisting left and right. Now this thing has a hell of a cast. We got, let's see, Meg Foster. The novel's by Robert Ludlum. Let's see. I already mentioned Meg Foster. We got Burt Lancaster, Chris Sarandon, Craig T. Nelson, Dennis Hopper. I mean, this is a hell of a cast.
Oh, it's chock full.
Yeah. And they all wanted to work with Peckinpah. Yeah. And there was a lot of little boobies in there, little perky boobies. Yeah. And they all wanted to work with Peckinpah. So they kind of it wasn't too hard to get them to do this.
And
once again, the music was by Lalo Schifrin, which I will never live down in my entire life. When
he's still following you.
He's following me around. Yes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, years ago, I was interviewing Mr. J.D. Fagelson, the creator of Dark Knight of Scarecrow. He was touting about Lalo Schifrin doing the music for it. And I'm very politely playing along as the host and as the interviewer. And I'm sitting there thinking, who the fuck is Lalo Schifrin, you know? Well, even though I didn't say it in the interview, I busted myself out because I can't believe I didn't know this guy was. Anyway, so he did the music for it. Now, 1983, Mr. Ben Harley, here's something interesting. I'm gonna set you off on this. Now, I don't know if you've seen this before. I've seen it a couple times. Never knew quite what to make of it, but the interesting thing is that when I would see this in the video stores, it was almost always in the horror section.
Okay.
Now, explain that to me. You know. Now, here's the thing, though. Let's be fair. It's not an easy movie to classify. It's kind of got a little bit of kind of everything in it. You know, a little bit. I'd say it's more of maybe a political thriller horror or a study in paranoia. So there's a little bit of horror there and stuff. What'd you think, Mr. Ben Harley? It's an odd film. What'd you think?
Yeah, you know, I've never seen this, Timo, and I watched it twice actually. Well, let's say 1.5 times. How about that? Yeah, because I had to go back. I was like, there's just too much. You know, it's very wordy at the beginning. You have to really. And at first, I'm like, because what did we watch just recently, Timo? Was it 1984 with John Hurt in it?
Yeah.
Right? I was like, is this 1984 Part 2? Because, you know, it's very reminiscent of how, you know, there's a lot of, I'm like, how are they watching all these people? You know what I mean? And then, you know, but it's all espionage.
Lots of surveillance. Lots of surveillance in it,
and espionage.
Yes.
And once I got it, you know, I went back and, you know, I figured out a little bit more, you know, because with Rutger Hauer, I thought at first they were blackmailing Rutger Hauer, but no, he was, you know, not really blackmailing him, but there's, you know, hey, your life's going to change after this. You know, you sign this document, you go with us, because you have no friends. The friends that you consider friends are not your friends. They're using you, you know, because he had a television show, didn't he, Timo?
Yes. It was interesting because he's kind of a rebel rouser.
Yeah.
So you don't really think that he's the kind of guy that would team up with the CIA. So John Hurt has to convince him and shows him certain things and basically kind of
befriends him a little bit too, right?
And he also makes Rutger Hauer believe that he's being used by Craig T. Nelson and his friends and stuff. Yeah.
Craig T. Nelson's a badass, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got a glued on mustache too.
That's an awful mustache.
It was glued on, by the way. That wasn't real. It was glued on. Yeah.
I couldn't tell.
Harley's going, oh, really? Wow.
Awful mustache.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah.
And I like Craig T. Nelson. You know, I like Coach. He's a good guy. Yeah, I really do. But it just made him more smarmy, though. Maybe it was good, you know. It almost was a snidely whiplash.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know, it was getting there. It was close. It was about a half a whisker away.
Well, and it helped. It helped because you didn't really know who anybody was in this film, and it keeps evolving. Yeah. And
you did. It was off-putting because, like, his friends, so-called friends, they're worried too, and it made for some awkward situations. So basically, he invites them to his house for another weekend because like they used to do or whatever.
Right.
And so he brings them there and he's supposed to help turn them and stuff.
Right.
While John Hurt's character stays in the pool house.
Right.
And surveillances everything.
Right.
And so you know, I did like it once it kind of got going. Because there's not a lot of slow points. There are, but they always do a little bit of something to kind of keep you going in this. You know, there's a chase scene at the beginning. You know, then they have then the weekend thing starts after that, which is
and they're on each other's nerves right away.
Oh man, and it's awkward.
It is.
The first,
it's uncomfortable
because he's watching this stuff or John Hurt's showing him these things about his friends. Right before they show up.
Well, let's back up real quick too, because what happens is that John Hurt also installs a bunch of video surveillance cameras in Rutger Hauer's home to keep an eye and listen to everything that's going on.
Everything,
And he's in like a remote truck that's kind of on his property or just in the woods somewhere, and he's got a lot of like sniper type CIA guys hiding around the woods.
Yeah,
you know, kind of. So they're surrounded basically. They don't know this. Rutger Hauer does, but the rest of the guys don't know this. But then as the movie evolves, you start wondering, wait a minute, what's going on here? Who's who here? You know, what's
it gets real tricky at that point. But I the thing is, I did like everybody in the film. I thought everybody's performance was really good. Dennis Hopper, for the first time in a long time, was the mild character.
Yeah, he was
in
actually.
The film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was the mild character in the film, which was okay too, and I'm fine with that. You know, I like him a lot. I like everybody in it, really. Yeah. And you're right, Timo. You really don't know. And I mean, okay, this movie's been out for a long time. I don't want to give away much for the end, but I really can't give you away too much at the end because I'm still a little kind of confused. I think I know what happened, but then again, I'm like, wait a second.
It's a movie that. Well, first of all, Chris Sarandon in it is the guy who's almost unhinged. It seems like in this movie, which is a little off from his characters too. You know, and he's actually really good in this. I think this is one of his better films, actually. And I like Chris Sarandon, but I don't love Chris Sarandon. You know,
you like Jack Skellington?
I do like Jack Skellington. Jack Skellington's okay, but I don't think of. I'm sorry, I don't think of Chris Sarandon, even though I know it's his voice. But it's kind of a movie that pulls you into it, making you think this is a big global story. And by the end of it, it funnels down into a very slim personal story. So it's a very personal thing by someone who's setting this all up into. It's as close as I can explain it without giving away. Sure. The reason we're doing this movie, this is not a horror film. I know we kind of go off the horror movie path. Actually, both of these movies this week are a little different. They have elements of horror to them, but I'm telling you, I saw this always in the horror section of the VHS stores, and I always wondered what the hell. When I finally watched it, I still didn't really understand why it was in the horror section.
Yeah.
But it's too dark to be just a straight drama. There's mystery to it, so there's definitely an espionage political thriller. It is a bizarre movie. It is bizarre, and when you're watching a movie today in today's age, and a lot of it's being funneled through 1983 television, you have to remember that back then, the evil specter of the internet that we have now, it's got great things and it's got horrible things to it, right? I mean, there's great stuff on the and there's really terrible things going on. People, ganging up on each other when they think they're wrong. Just a lot of stuff going on. Well, in '83, television and the news cycle and these news shows were that in a way. Does that make sense? Right. That was what we were all glued to televisions. We weren't glued to phones. We were glued to televisions. So it was our addiction in '83. It's still my addiction, by the way. But I'm just saying, 83, it was more normal. Like everybody had it,
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so I think it's kind of interesting in that way. So in 83, people knew exactly what this meant when they were seeing it. You know what I mean? And so there is a bit of that. It's media. It's media. It's about how media can control you, almost more than the government, and how the government can control the media. And stuff like that. So it's very, very interesting in that effect. And then it does funnel down into this very personal, awful story.
Yeah.
I mean, and people do get theirs. They all get theirs in this movie.
They sure do.
But it is interesting to see how the roles switch around in the movie as it goes on. People are not who you think they are. They're not who they're being presented as. And very, very interesting.
Yeah, I did enjoy it, Timo. It was different. I'm still, the ending still, I think I know. You know what?
I'll explain it to you off air. I don't want to say anything on here, but it is. And look, I know I said it's not a horror movie, but it was in the horror section, so I'm talking about. But at the same time, I mean, we reserve the right to do a cult film, and this is definitely a cult movie. It's definitely a cult film. And I honestly would recommend it. I would recommend seeing it. If nothing else, get Peckinpah. The thing about what's funny about Peckinpah is all the slow motion stuff you were seeing in it. If you remember back to Wild Bunch, that's kind of his trademark a little bit. Is slow motion violence. and things like that he did. And he was very sick when he was doing this movie. I think this was his last movie. He was also fired off of it too. But Peckinpah was known for being fired off of films. Yeah, I think he was even fired off Ride the High Country. I mean, how do you get fired off of a Randolph Scott and Joel McRae movie from the late 50s or whatever, Western? But anyway, I didn't like this movie when I was a kid, and I think if you're an adult watching this now, you can see why. I saw it twice, and I was like, oh man, I don't know. Watching it now, though, I enjoy it a lot more. I think I get it a lot more. I understand it. I'm going to great ape up the movie. I think it's pretty good.
Too, but I think I am too. Because I mean, it has its slow parts, but for me, it was okay because it was filled in with other things and enough intrigue and other stuff that I just enjoyed.
Right. So it was
lots of boobs too.
There was little. You said little booby. It was kind of funny because they were. These guys were definitely their wives. They were batting above their averages. I mean, all of them.
Oh,
they were fairly attractive women in this movie. They weren't like porn star looking women, but they were definitely attractive looking women. And you're kind of wondering like, why are these girls after these guys? Anyway, I don't know. I'm not a woman, so I don't understand these things, Mr. Ben Harley. I don't understand why a woman likes me. I don't get it. So
I don't either.
I just roll with it. So
that's right.
Let's see. Moving along.
Thank you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Thank you for having bad eyesight and no taste. Thank you. Let's see here. Moving on, Mr. Ben Harley. 1984 to 1984. Right when Tom Selleck was Tom Selleck. We have the movie Runaway.
Runaway, yes, sir.
Runaway. Yeah. So the first movie, Osterman Weekend, was 83. This is 84. So we're kind of right there in that era. So
it'd be made at the same time, right? Come on.
Probably.
They might have been on the same lot. You never know.
Might have been. See, this was directed and written by Michael Crichton. That gives a lot of weight right there. Yeah. So let me give you a short storyline synopsis here. Here we go. Get out back movie guy. Here we go. In the near future, a police officer specializes in malfunctioning robots. But when a robot turns out to have been programmed to kill, he begins to uncover a homicidal plot to create killer robots. And his son becomes a target. He does?
No, I didn't. Well,
wait a minute.
The last couple minutes.
Yeah, that's IMDb, I don't like you a lot. You're kind of weird.
Sometimes you're a little weird.
I know. Yeah. I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, did I watch the movie? Should we stop and continue this tomorrow because I missed something? I was like, no, I don't really think he was. It was Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons is in this. He's a mean old son of a bitch programmer type guy. He's like program, and this is the near future. But what's interesting about it, so it's 1984 near future, okay?
Yeah.
What's interesting about it is a lot of the stuff that's in there, it did come true. You don't recognize the design of things, but you recognize the function of things. Like, oh my God, this stuff did come true. And of course, Mr. Ben Harley, I was kind of drawn to this film because it's all about evil electronics engineers and, and electronics engineering. And I'm like, I know exactly what's going on here, stuff. So, I'm showing Angel like, oh, those are resistors right there. And see those chips there? The chips replace the resistors. It's all, wake up, woman! But it was also about electronics engineers victims as well. They were also victims of this film, Mr. Ben Harley. So I did my due diligence and marked myself safe while I was watching the movie. Yeah. So
fellow engineers are safe.
Right. And if we were around in 1984, you definitely remember this, at least this movie being advertised. As kind of playing Tom Selleck off type a little bit, If I'm not mistaken, this was right in that Magnum PI kind of era where you were just kind of like, man, I don't know if he's got the weight or he's right for this role. And that kind of, I was still feeling that watching this movie, Miss Merrill. I like Tom Selleck, but I was still kind of looking at him and staring at that mustache going, I'm sure you've seen this, but has it been a long time?
Yes. Yeah, it's been a long time. It's funny because I don't want to jump ahead too much, but I really remember the last 20 minutes of this movie a lot. But the other hour and whatever. I don't really remember a whole lot. I remember bits and pieces of it.
Right.
Which was okay though by me. It was fine. Because going back into it, it was okay to watch again.
Right.
But yeah, I feel you on the Tom Selleck thing because I am a Tom Selleck fan. But this was right in his because Magnum PI could be more serious, but he was not a super serious role. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like Magnum PI. It was an okay show.
Right.
But I'm just saying that he was going for a little bit more of a serious and I look at him much more now in his later roles as a serious actor.
Yeah, right.
So yeah,
right.
I do feel you.
Right.
He was kind of
this was during his uncomfortable movement from kind of lightweight crime drama comedy type roles into something a little darker. Yeah,
actor,
a little
to a star. I guess
because he was in movies for even the 70s. I think he was in like Satan's Sisters or something like that. He was in some goofy movies. As a matter of fact, speaking of Michael Crichton, he also had a very small part in Coma, which me and Angio just watched. Remember, and that's a Michael Crichton movie.
Yes. Yeah.
So he plays a patient. He's only in it for a minute or two, but he is definitely in there as well. But so it was kind of odd. It was an odd.
Yeah.
And, this was a movie that unfortunately you had to go with. This is him trying to turn his career into a different direction, and you had to sit through it.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
You will sit through this.
Right.
And Gene Simmons. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But but no, actually, Gene Simmons was near as bad in this as he was in the last one we watched.
Was it the Too Young to Die? Too Young to Die. That was it. Yeah. What an awful title for that film, by the way.
It's only 7:00.
Right.
So not remembering much of the beginning of this movie, because I know when we talked about this, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that movie. And I'm like, I really don't remember a lot about especially like their scenes, because is he like the robot? He's the robot police or something? Because they use robots a lot for outfield work.
They've utilized robotics.
Butlers.
Yes. So we've become not like the Jetsons, but we've become a society where robots have, they do have the cool thing is that they are doing robot activities. They're picking bugs off of crops instead of using sprays. Interesting idea.
Right. Yeah.
They're doing this and that, and they are butlers and maids and stuff like that. But they don't look like cyborgs. They look like what really came to be. I mean, most
like Wally.
Yeah. I was thinking K9 from Doctor Who, but they were
that too,
somewhere in that realm there. So I did kind of appreciate the fact they didn't try to make them look like cyborgs and make them human-like. No, they were functioning machines.
Yeah,
to be honest with you. But so he was part of a police division that would disarm. He would disarm robots that were on the fritz because they could be dangerous.
Oh, they would definitely go on the fritz for sure.
Yeah.
And you're right, Timo. There was a very on fire Christy Alley.
Oh yeah.
That Magnum PI had to save at one point.
Yeah.
From a robot that was on the fritz.
Oh yeah.
And she was in it briefly, but I liked her as well.
I just reminded you just how stunning she used to be. I mean, oh my God.
Yeah.
Now Cynthia Rhodes, she was in Dirty Dancing and Flashdance and Staying Alive and stuff like that. She wasn't bad herself. I liked her and Christy Alley. It sounds like a good double date if it's me and two chicks.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great double date. You can come along if you want to find.
I'll open the door for you guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You can drive.
Yeah, exactly. You can be the butler.
Right. Yeah.
Robot butler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I liked his partner. I thought they were good together in this movie and stuff. But overall, Tim, the movie's not bad. Gene Simmons, does do some kind of crazy stuff. He, like both of the movies that we watched were, they must have been talking with Judas Priest about the electric eye in the sky, because a lot of both of these movies are highly on surveillance and tapping into surveillance and and that's what Gene Simmons does a lot in this film, because, Magnum PI's character, he's a smart guy in this too, but he's going up against someone who's more tech savvy and things like that. And he's always one step ahead of them. And he's tapping into the police cameras and things like that, So it's funny because both of these movies it's the time period.
Right.
1984, right? Yeah. Big Brother. So everybody's looking So I liked that about both of these movies. It kept people on their toes and stuff.
Well, and they were kind of prophetic. I mean, they were really, not that you couldn't see it. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, if you think that we're not being watched, take your phone sometime and put it down on a table and start talking about some random item. You will start getting advertisements for that random item.
Yeah. Yep.
It's true. I mean, that's not paranoia. It's true. It's the way the world works now.
Right. I think they're working on ESP because I swear to God, when I come down, I'm thinking about typing something in it. There's already, I swear to God, dude.
Has it happened to you too? Are you serious? Yeah. I never said it out loud before because I'm not as crazy as you are. But I'm just saying, like, I think the exact same crazy shit. I'm like, I was thinking about that. I didn't even say it out loud. It's like, wow, man, this is creepy. Spooky. Targeted advertising via brainwaves and mild comments with your spouse or... it's weird. Yeah, so this is prophetic. Both films are pretty prophetic.
Yeah. So I did like that about this one. It kept you on your toes, and if you think about, especially back then, now we're kind of getting used to it. It's like a joke, like we're just laughing about it. Back then, no, like, oh my God, what, you know what I mean? And that stuff's scary. And I remember for the first time seeing in a show, Sequest, when Roy Scheider's character was driving his motorcycle and he flew by this thing and a little thing popped up and then it shot a laser and it read the license plate number and he got a ticket. And I was like, oh, come on, that's never going to happen.
That happens all the time.
You know what I mean? So these things, for me, made these movies a lot better, too, for me. Put them off, put me off kilter, the movies off kilter because of that fact. So I enjoyed that. Right. I actually thought Gene Simmons' character was okay in this, and I remember it kind of being somewhat of a big deal him being in this film.
Yeah,
really,
he was.
You know, so, but overall, I thought it was an okay movie. I did enjoy it. I love watching these old 80s ones. The music didn't bother me as much in this as a lot of them lately, of the 80s ones we watch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
You know?
Yeah.
But you're right. Some of they had, was there drones in this?
There was drones. Right? They looked like a little, like, tablet that the guy, that the kid had, and there was... You know, just the voice commands and stuff. I mean, really, honestly, a lot of it, you just didn't recognize the actual devices. But like I said, the functions they had were pretty right on. They're pretty spot on. I like this. I never loved this movie to begin with. I think it's this sounds really odd. It's lacking a creature. It's lacking a monster or maybe a robot out of control. That's a giant,
robot at the end.
It's something like that. I mean, or maybe maybe they bug his maid at home or something that tries to kill him.
Those little spiders things were kind of cool.
Yeah, those little mechanical spiders, cool. And that's what's memorable. That's what's memorable by kids like us that were growing up then.
And I think that's why I remembered the ending so much. And I don't know if maybe I just caught the ending of this not too long ago or something. I don't know why, but it's just like it is more of a memorable scene to me, you know. Right. The whole with them, you know, injecting acid into you know, and they actually looked pretty good for back then. I thought, wow, you know, for the mechanics and stuff, and they made the noise. Right. They would get more excited, like, you know, and I thought that was really cool, you know.
I think I would have enjoyed it more if they would have had made it more like the spiders were the arch villain of the movie. They're sneaking in everywhere doing stuff, and then Gene Simmons was kind of revealed, you know, as the Pied Piper of the spiders and things like that. But you know, I don't think the movie and the story, especially coming from Michael Crichton, was intended to be that. So that's me going, well, it ought to have been like this. And Michael Crichton's like, write your own damn story, you fucking pisshead, you know. So, but you know, it's okay. It's got a little bit of a pace to it that and that's kind of the era too. But for some reason, Runaway was about where I thought it was going to be. I'm going to give it a mild grape ape up.
Okay,
it's aged in an interesting way, but not in an exciting way. But it's a very fascinating way it's aged. Where I think Osterman Weekend has aged very well. I think it's way better now than at least from my point of view than when it came out. But it's a mild grape ape up. I think Tom Selleck was finding his feet, you know, in the leading man type of action sci-fi film, you know.
You're right. And I think we were used to him being, for lack of a better word, like the bandit. You know what I mean? He was more of a like kissing, kiss them and leave them. I'm
like a funny guy ladies man who was kind of tough every now and then. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And this one, he was toned way down.
Yeah.
Way down.
Right.
And
Single
I think that
parent,
was a little,
widower. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a little off-putting at first. Mm-hmm. But, hey, I'm cool with it. I enjoy it.
They did have a little comic relief with the robots, and he's trying to be tough around people, especially when he meets Kirstie Alley. He's trying to hit on her kind of. And, yeah. I mean, I blame him. That one. But I'm going to give this Runaway here, and like I said, a mild grape ape. But it's definitely a grape ape up, but it's a little more mild than Osterman Weekend. How about you?
Yeah, same thing, but maybe just a little bit more than a mild grape ape up. I guess it's not my favorite movie, but I did enjoy watching it, and I think it's held up okay,
right?
And for the fact that some of the stuff that was in there that has come to pass. It's pretty cool, too,
right? Well, I wouldn't have been surprised if it wouldn't have held up that well. So that was a nice surprise that it was okay. It wasn't bad, It was like it was interesting to see how some things have shook out, stuff like that. Really in both films actually, but All right, well we got two. I got a mild grape ape up. You got sounds like more of a normal.
A little spicier, mild.
Yeah, well, I think that's a regular. I think you got a regular grape ape up, on Runaway, and then we both got grape apes up for Osterman Weekend. Interesting film, a little confusing. You got to sit down and watch that film. You can't just print and watch what you learn.
No,
it's got a little more involved.
There's just a lot, especially at the beginning. You really have to figure out who's who at first, and what's going on, and I mean, they're keeping it secretive enough, but you have to know the main character. If you don't know these main characters and stuff, you're going to be lost real quick.
I think I enjoyed the mystery, like you're talking about Osterman Weekend, a little bit more than the straightforward kind of sci-fi action of Runaway a little bit. But they're both, again, neither one of these are really horror films. Runaway is probably way closer to that with the little spiders
there's some
and
action
stuff.
And blood.
And stuff. But they're both cult films, and I think we kind of wanted to go off the beaten path a little bit, especially after watching what was it, Blood of the Vampire and Theater of Death, where it's like, we were muddled in mediocrity. Let's at least something in color, widescreen. But by the way, both these movies were shot very well too. By the way, they look really good. Both these movies were done with a lot of class and talent. Let's put it that way. They're not like these little micro budget movies or anything like that. No offense to micro budget movies, just saying these are big productions and they're pretty good. It helps the movies. Let's put it that way.
Right.
All right, Mr. Ben Harley. Not sure what we're doing next week. Might do a little bit of a shorter show next week. Got a lot of stuff going on this weekend. For both of us, I think you got a wrestling event that we will hopefully be talking about. I've got a event, benefit for Corey's group home this weekend too, so it's going to be quite a busy one.
I hope that goes well.
It should. It's already sold out, so that's a good thing. So as long as
it's going well already. See?
And I'd like to actually thank also Dominic Mancini, agent extraordinaire, as I call him, agent to the stars. He made sure and donated some autographed pictures from Terry Kaiser from Weekend at Bernie's, and then okayed Cassie and Danny, of course, donating autographed pictures and even a Blu-ray of Evil Dead 2. And our good friend Mr. Joel Robinson gave a couple of posters, Rob Zombie-esque posters signed by Sid Haig, I do believe, and Joel.
Oh, that's nice.
And so we're throwing that into like a Halloween basket and then doing a couple Hollywood things like that. I'd like to thank those guys for that. It's going to help out a lot. It's going to help a lot this weekend. So
that's awesome. Well, good.
It'll be a good time. So until next week, we'll report back on all that stuff next week. I'm sure you're going to be on pins and needles. Mr. Ben Harley's going heel again, so he's going to be he probably won't grape ape a damn thing next week because he's a method actor. It's why I don't live any more than 8 hours closer to him.
Yeah, I've been eating a lot of flapjacks because we got a lumberjack match this weekend.
Oh my God, jeez, you're going to get your ass handed to you. All right, so Mr. Ben Harley, that's all we got this week. Until next week, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com. Your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.